All right, Wednesday night, and we're gonna do a quick 30-minute chat. Midweek mindset, we call it. I'm Chad Zanotti, been with Isogenics for 10 years, physical therapist for 23 years, and am just loving where this company's going. I think we're infusing this company with some really good energy right now. And Taylor grew up in a small town in Ohio. I still have the card. This is gonna be memorized probably by next week, though.
Oh yeah.
Now living in Florida and works remote, which is pretty awesome in and of itself. Be able to piggyback Isogenics with remote work. Full time engineer and been with Isogenics for 4 years. And his vision is to help millions to create a legacy. Him not only create a legacy for himself, but millions of people out there. And he loves the beach, pickleball, and leveraging the network marketing profession. So Wednesdays, we like to come on here, just share some insight, keep it businessy, keep it positive. And for tonight, I figured we're going to add a couple different structures as we move along here. So for tonight, my reception's coming in okay, right?
Yeah, I can hear you fine.
I have about 5 kids in the house. There's a TV on. My wife's got her phone. I got my phone. I got my computer. My son's at his computer. I'm surprised that we're getting
Yep.
any signal here. But I figure for tonight, we'll get into the three F's. So I'll ask you three questions and we'll go back and forth on these three questions. We'll talk about finances, we'll talk about fitness, and we'll talk about fun. So regarding finances, okay, this day and age, we have a lot of people who are having some challenges financially. And I think every person at one point or another hits that point where they're hitting some financial snags. They may have a regular payment that they're paying out, and then all of a sudden they got a big expense that pops up. And my question for you is, I know you have multiple streams of income. What would you suggest to the average person on how to handle those big expenses that pop up?
Yeah, it's a good question. I mean, what I can think about me in the past, when I've had something pop up like a car expense or something breaks and you need some immediate money, like my mind it goes into real quick creativity mode, and I try to think about how can I make a lot of money really fast. And most of the time, it goes down to hustling, just like hustling, trying to make some extra money in any way, shape, or form. And again, I can't really put myself in this situation mentally right now until I'm there, until I actually have that expense in front of me and my mind is doing its creative work and I'm trying to find these different ways to make some more money. But again, I mean, it's just about the universal flows. Like if you need something bad enough, it's going to show up in your life. So there's going to be a couch to flip. There's going to be a that you can do. There's going to be somebody who needs your help for a certain project that you can make a couple $100 on, stuff. As far as like being able to be prepared for something like that, Chad, I mean, always have several thousand away in a separate account just that you don't touch and you have for an emergency fund like that. So what that it does, and like creates a lot of a cushion for you. I mean, as far as like de-stressing you for I heard a statistic like most Americans have less than $1,000 saved in the bank account or something like that. And that blows my mind because I feel like I would be constantly riddled with so much anxiety. And just being living from paycheck to paycheck like that and having zero wiggle room. If an expense did pop up like that, most people are swiping their credit card and just throwing that on there and then worrying about it later. And I can't say that I haven't done that in the past before too, but I always try to pay that off as quick as possible. And that might even give you an extra like 30 days, to be able to be creative and find those extra funds, and whatever that looks like. But, being in sales, you can always increase your activity to be able to increase your results. So that can be hosting an event, that can be hitting up somebody and seeing if they'll host an event for you. Like, for example, I work with a lot of uh, salon owners and beauty professionals here in Tampa. And, that could look like, hey, let's throw a little collagen and cocktail party at your freaking, beauty salon. Let's make some money real quick. So it's all about urgency, right? Whenever you're in a spot of urgency like that, you're going to be able to come up with a lot of creative ideas to make that money really fast. So again, it always goes back to sales. It always goes back to something creative, hustling, I'm never just sitting back, Chad, and saying, "Oh, my boss didn't pay me anymore this week. Looks like I'm a shit out of luck," right? I'm never like that. So it always goes into how can I make more money instead of, "Oh, poor me, I got this expense."
Two choices. You had two choices when those pop up. One is pull your hair out, get frustrated, get irritated, get discouraged. And the other one is, like you said, take action. And I like that: increase activity, increase results. Now, what do you say to the person who has that knee jerk response to kind of flip out a little bit and they let their mind take over as opposed to them taking over their mind?
Yeah, it's all about the. For me, it goes back to that stoicism that I talked about in previous weeks. Um, I've downloaded my mindset with so much stoicism that literally when something pops up, Chad, that is out of my control, I don't even think twice about it. I'm just like, okay, what can I do now? What can I do in this moment? What can I control in this moment? And most of the time, it's my attitude, it's my mindset, it's my anger, it's my thoughts around the situation. It's choosing to be grateful for something in that situation that could potentially come out of it. You know what I mean? So you can always control your mindset and your attitude around that situation. You can't control if your car breaks down, you're alongside the road. There's nothing you can do about it at that point. You can't be mad at the car for breaking down. That's not going to solve anything, right? So what can you always ask yourself? What can I control in this moment, and how can I improve it? And again, it's just letting go of whatever you can't control, focusing on what you can control. And most of the time, if that's just your breath, then that's what it is. You know what I mean? Focus on your breath, take a step back, get away from the situation for a moment. Just let your mind think, let your mind calm. And whenever you're in a state of reactivity like that, you're not thinking from the best place. You're thinking emotionally instead of rationally. So whenever you remove yourself from that situation and you're able to create that little bit of space, you're able to create that environment so you can think of a good idea. You can think of something proactive or productive to do in a situation like that. So again, it goes back to just creating space, calming your mind down, because no good decisions come from when you're frustrated and you're angry and you're just mad about a situation. That's not a good place to think from.
I've been listening to the De Silva mind training method. I don't know if you heard of that.
Never heard of it.
It's amazing. It's a guy who, back in the 50s or 60s or 70s, I forget when he developed it, but it's basically how to do just what you said: how to take your brain waves from our normal brainwave activity, which is about 20, 20 wavelengths. I think that's how they term it, and bring it down to 10 or even lower. And when you bring it down to those lower wavelengths, you're able to relax into a situation. And you look at some of the pitchers getting up on the mound during huge games, huge World Series games. These pitchers get up on the mound. There's fans going crazy. Their coaches are going crazy. It's been a tight game. They're pissed off at the umps. That pitcher has to go to the mound and become as cerebral as they possibly can.
Yep.
And it's that ability to control their mind versus their mind controlling them. Because I'm one who, for the past, yeah, exactly, just dial right in. You put the blinders on. For
Yep.
the past, say, 5 or 10 years, I've been trying to gobble up anything I can get my hands on, get my ears on, get my eyes on, to figure how to shift my thought pattern and shift my energy towards something that's more productive. And when I'm coaching lacrosse, when I'm coaching someone one on one, I share with them that one of the most challenging things you'll ever do in your entire life is to shift energy that is of disappointment, anger, frustration, irritation, to shift it as quick as you possibly can towards energy of something that's more positive and something that will serve. Because once you're able to do that and you're able to bring those wavelengths from 20 down to the 10 or down to the 7, everything will open up around you. You
Mm-hmm.
start to get those hunches, those nudges to do certain things. And certain people, as fascinating as it sounds, I'm sure this has happened to you too. Like with us, something, I just saw that video randomly on Instagram, and how you presented yourself in that video and your passion and your heart that you were putting out on the page, your focus, your conviction, was just something like, I got to reach out to this guy. Because at the time I was talking with Nick, and I was talking with Nick about, are there some people that I can connect with? And serendipitously that popped up. Nick didn't even suggest you. So point being, when your wavelengths are down here and you're relaxed, you're more aware, and certain people will come into your life, and certain certain opportunities are going to pop into your life that you would never have anticipated.
Yep. And I mean, it even connects to our last question of like the situation of an unexpected, financial issue popping up. This can very much connect to the same one. So like you got to focus on the things that you can't control, and even you, Chad, like what are some things that you've experienced in the past whenever something does like that crop up, or how are you able to coach some of the people that you're working with through a situation like that?
It's interesting. My one of the no, you're asking kind of what are some of the nudges that come along when I'm in that space. So there was a time when I was working in nursing homes as a PT, and it happened that one of patients would pass away, and every once in a while, a patient would pass away that was just like an aha for me and sent me a message. And there was one time when a patient passed away, and I got a message to just, okay, you've been in this space for long enough. And like that day, I started to move some cogs and wheels to shift out of that environment and back into more of the orthopedic post-op sports environment. So that was
Mm,
more job related. There's, I mean, the story of yourself, myself. When I met JoJo Bennington at our first event out in Phoenix, I walked up to her and for some reason, I knew it was her. I hadn't seen pictures of her because I don't think we were doing the Facebook thing all that much. I hadn't seen pictures, but I looked over and I'm like, gotta be JoJo. So I went over and I just gave her, because I had just flown out by myself. I went over and gave her a big hug, and it was like I'd known her for 10, 15 years.
wow.
So it's neat opportunities like that pop up. How about yourself?
Again, I mean, I just talked about it a little bit. I was talking specifically about like when unexpected expenses crop up, but whenever what I've learned so much about just controlling my own energies, and again allowing things like that to come into my life, and allowing the just getting out of the way of the universe and let things happen. There's a obviously Bob Proctor. I learned a lot from Bob Proctor over the past few years, and I actually enrolled in one of his courses called Thinking into Results, where I trained with one of his number one consultants for 6 months. And I learned so much about the law of vibration, the law of attraction, and how this all works. And at a fundamental level, like everything is emitting a frequency. So our bodies and our minds is like our brain is like the most powerful electromagnetic device in the entire world. And we're able to harness that frequency. You're able to tune in to those certain things that you want. So in a certain situation like that, when you're trying to attract an individual, you have to make it very clear, but you also have to be in an emotional state where you're able to attract that person and get on that same wavelength. So in that program, I learned about how to do that. And again, it's creating clarity around what it is that you want, whether it be a business partner or whether it be a relationship or a certain income level or a certain goal that you're trying to reach. um, you have to write it down and be very specific about it. And every single incentive trip that I've ever earned, every single morning, 30 seconds to 60 seconds, I'm writing. I'm so happy and grateful now that I've earned the Ice trip to Tulum, or the Ice trip to Puerto Vallarta, the Ice trip to Cancun, or whatever it is. Like all of these are very much within my grasp. And whenever I'm getting on that frequency, it's drawing it into my reality so much easier. So again, with my business partners, I wrote out 5 leaders that I want to attract into my business, and be very specific about them in detail. What are these people like? What are they thinking? What motivates them? What kind of people are they? And those are the people that I want to attract. So one, create clarity around it. Two, get the mind space of seeing that and visualizing it and seeing it and feeling that emotion and what it feels like to be able to attract that and have that, and just very much focusing on it with a calm sense of already accomplishing it. You know what I mean? So he talks about gratitude is, you can't feel grateful for something that you don't already have. So whenever you have that gratitude feeling for a business partner or a relationship, it feels like it's already yours. And that's telling the universe, hey, I'm ready to accept this. This is already mine. I've already accepted it. So that's how I've done it, Chad. And I think it's an ever growing progressive thing. I'm not a pro at it by any means, but whenever you're able to understand that you actually can do this, and you can attract anything that you want, you can do anything that you want, and it's all within your grasp, it just gives you so much power. You know what I mean? And you're really able to tune into that power, and it feels really, really good.
And I personally, just to throw a personal situation out there. Quickly, I'm looking to manifest 5 grand, and hope it would be great by the next call. And that's my goal, is by the next call to manifest that. So I'll put that to the test. So
You gotta do it
anytime,
every single morning, man. And make it put it in a high vibrational state, like so high. Like I always listen to music whenever I'm writing, and I'm like drawing this into my existence, and just listen to high frequency music makes me feel good, puts me in a positive state of mind. And you're writing out half a sheet of paper, one sheet of paper, whatever it looks like. But dude, that goes so far. It's unbelievable.
yeah, and anytime you feel like you're shifting off path, the train's going off course, you got to bring it right back on. I'll be honest, there are times when that train for me will go off course, and it takes effort to get it back on. Sometimes it gets a little too far off course, but I one of my coaches, he says you don't have bad days, you got bad moments.
Mm-hmm.
And if your bad days turn into bad moments, you're able to shift that energy back to where you want it to be. So that'll be mine. And a quote: "Where your focus goes, your energy flows." I mean, we've all
Mm-hmm.
heard that. So next question would be a fitness based question. We got a few more minutes here. And that question is: you've had a long day, stressed out, a lot going on, but a good stress, and a couple problems you still got on the table that you got to deal with tomorrow. You're focusing on some creative solutions, but you kind of want to let it go and you want to do your own thing. You got 10 minutes to work out. What do you do?
Oof, I actually just made a video about this on Instagram. If you guys can, if whoever's listening recording, Taylor Peter 6, I just made a reel about this. For busy people, man, I always have something going on. And I need to maximize my time in a workout, right? And number one thing that I would recommend, Chad, is don't skip the workout. Even if you only have 10 minutes, do the workout. And in the reel that I just made is do all body weight stuff. And for what that would look like for somebody who maybe does have an access to fitness equipment, or maybe you just have an outdoor gym, or even if you're in your living room, you can still do this. Body weight of usually like pull-ups, for example. I use the example at the gym. If you're at the gym, just do 10 minutes of pull-ups, or I'm sorry, pull-ups as much as you can, 2-minute break. Do push-ups as much as you can, 2-minute break. Go into squats as much as you can, 2-minute break. And dude, you can get a killer workout, those 3 muscle groups, in 10 minutes, and be sore the next day, right? It's all about time under tension. And if you're continuing to push your muscles to your capacity in those certain muscle groups, you're going to be able to feel the burn. And whenever you wake up sore the next day, you know that those muscle fibers have broken down, and they'll be able to rebuild and stronger and more of those muscle fibers. So that's what I would recommend. Number one, don't skip it. Number two, do some simple body weight workouts and do that time under tension of the intensity with the reps. And you got a good workout right there.
And now, 100% agree. And another one, that if you have the space, if you got the time for it within that 10 minutes to get outside, sprint, just a quick sprint session for 10 minutes. And you can
Mm-hmm.
even sprint and do body weight at one end, sprint, body weight at the other end. The
Yep.
point being, I can't tell you how many patients I've worked with at 22, 23 years who say, I don't have the time to exercise. I don't have the
That's
time
such
to work
BS,
out.
isn't it?
10 minutes is all you need. I don't care if you have 7 minutes. Set a timer for 7 minutes and bust through a workout for 7 minutes. It does
Mm-hmm.
not have to be anything extravagant. You don't need machines. You don't need weights. You don't need really anything. 10 minutes can completely shift your vibration.
Yeah, it really is. And I think it's so important. Again, just don't skip it. It's not even just for your physical health, but also for your mental health. You know, if you always have stuff going on, and again, if you're in a state of stress, but a state of eustress where you're growing a business, you're working, you have a relationship, you're doing outside things like networking events and stuff like that. You have a lot going on, but you're in a constant state of growth. You need that time away. That's why pickleball has been so important for me. Like that is my time away to mentally de-stress, have fun, play a game, and get some good exercise at the same time. But it's so important for your mental health, because if you just keep stacking day after day after day after day of working and business and stress and calls and all that on top, you're going to go nuts eventually, right? You need that release of the mental energy, but also the physical energy too.
Definitely. So a quick joke. How do you make seven even?
Sorry, repeat that.
Yeah, I think my kids are taking over the wavelengths here. And maybe a little bit choppy, but how do you make seven even?
How do you make 7 even? This is a trick question, isn't it? Divided by 3.5.
Close. You seen those guys, the guys who are sitting on a dock telling dad jokes back and forth? Have you seen them
Uh,
on Instagram? If you go to Instagram and just go to the search key and type in dad jokes on a dock, there are these guys who are out on a dock. They're just drinking these big mugs of coffee, totally straight faced, just sharing dad jokes back and forth. And it's the funniest freaking thing. So how do you make 7 even? You take away the S for the S. So now for the fun part of this, and I say this is fun because you can get as creative as you want to be with this. How important is visualization and manifestation? Visualization, meditation, or vice versa, meditation and visualization to manifestation.
Yeah, and incorporate all of those together. So, okay, real quick, I know we only have a few minutes. The things that I've learned through studying with Bob Proctor in those courses, there's very important elements of the visualization and the meditation. So, always do it in a calm state. Always do it in a very peaceful environment. Most powerful right before bed and first thing in the morning, because your brain is operating at a lower wave cycles per second, and you're able to receive those visualizations so much more. So in the morning, whatever you're meditating, also incorporate that visualization. And again, this can be a goal that you're working for. This can be something that you want to accomplish in your life. This would be a physical thing that you want to manifest. All of these are ways that you can use that visualization tool to bring that into your physical reality. And again, the last thing, I always try to do this before I drift off to sleep every single night, something that I'm working toward, what I want to achieve. And most of the time, dude, it's just putting myself in a state of gratitude. It's like I lay down my bed and it's so automatic for me lately, Chad. Like I've trained my brain so well for this. As soon as I lay down in bed, cover up, dude, I'm like, oh, I'm so grateful. Like, and you put yourself in that state of gratitude, the universe is going to keep giving you things to be more grateful for. You're grateful. Okay, here's more, here's more, here's more, because you're attracting more of that like energy back into you. And again, first thing in the morning, sit down at my desk. I go into a meditation. And nothing crazy again, 5 minutes, 10 minutes max. Think what I'm grateful for and also visualizing something I want to achieve. Those are the two most powerful techniques that I can give you.
And that was my question. Actually, you read my mind about the time. Be 5 minutes, 10 minutes. I think some of the studies are showing that if you can do a full 30 in the morning and 30 at night, that's like best case scenario. And even De Silva talks about that. They say 15 minutes is good, or 5 minutes is good, 15 minutes is better, and then 30 minutes is like, I mean,
Yeah.
and there's some people who can meditate for an hour
Yeah.
and they come out of that meditation and it's like they've been sleeping for 8 hours. Like their
Yeah.
brain has that activity. Because let's face it, there's a lot of people who are sleeping because they took pills before bed because the doctors, they just have a lot of difficulty sleeping, but their brains aren't relaxed. Like their bodies aren't truly relaxed. I don't, I mean, I've seen people who've woken up after a sleep where they've had, and I feel for them because not being able to sleep, I've had situations where it's just not, I'm in bed and I'm just trying to go to sleep. And when you try to go to sleep, it's not going to happen.
Mm-mm.
And I'll get up and I'll walk around the house and I'll hope to God that I go back to sleep. And then I'll come back up, I'll get in bed and won't happen. The
Mm-mm.
cortisol levels just increase to a point where, I mean, this is another, I mean, I'd be happy to share my story about this in another time, but sleep is super important. And being able to meditate to the point where your brain thinks you're sleeping and incorporate, I like how you mentioned, lower brain waves in the morning, lower brain waves at night. They're higher during the day because we got so much going on around us. That's such precious time, first thing in the morning and at night before you go to bed, to put in your mind's eye those things that you desire. And yeah, my wife catches me, she's like, I don't know. I guess I'm just more focused on gratitude is essential. Because if you're a goal oriented individual, you still need to, in the moment, enjoy the moment.
Mm-hmm.
Because all you know that you have is the moment.
Mm-hmm.
Eckhart Tolle, Power of Now. All you know that you have is that moment.
One of my favorite books, man.
Oh my gosh, I love it. So if you can truly enjoy the moment, no matter what's going on, that's life, living in joy. So, in meditation, deep breathing, visualization, can help to manifest those things. And to circle back to kind of put a cherry on top of this call, when you have those situations that are stressful, you have that financial thing that's just in front of you, and you're like, what the hell am I going to do? Meditation, visualization, deep breathing, manifestation. And if you're adding exercise in during the day to help bring those vibes down and help your cells vibrate at a higher pace so you feel better. I mean, that's it's about having tools. And I hope that on this call we're offering people some tools that they can use, that can easily incorporate into their day, so that when that stuff hits, they can get that train back on the track and they can feel good in the moment and they can truly enjoy the moment.
Yep, 100%.
Awesome, man. Well, I'll get this recorded. I mean, I'll get it all saved and we'll share it. And any dialogue that we get back is good dialogue. Any feedback that we get back is good feedback. Every Wednesday, 8 o'clock, we'll get people on here live, and then we'll also be sharing this as a podcast. We can take some of this material and create an actual podcast.
Yeah, we definitely could. We could use the audio for sure.
Awesome, man. Well, thank you as always, Taylor.
All right, brother. Have a great rest of your day and week. I'll talk to you soon.
Dude, thank you.